All right, welcome to 2-8, graphing in the coordinate plane. We just finished one-step equations. This one's kind of different than the others. Last lesson is problem solving, drawing a picture. Okay, so we're going to be able to label the important parts of a graph and plot an ordered pair in a coordinate plane. We have lots of vocabulary words, but for those of you that did 1-6, you should have a lot of these already done. So if you skip chapter 1, you have a lot of vocab words. For those of you that did chapter 1, you should have most of these. I think the only one you're missing is quadrant. Okay, so you just have to make sure that you have it. This would be a good time to write your personal definitions for those of you that already did this. Okay, so the first word is origin, and my letters are all in the wrong order here. Okay, there we go. Origin, O. Actually, I don't know, whatever. Okay, so origin. So on O, which is on page 13, origin. So where the two axes intersect at 0, 0. So when you have a graph here, the origin's right in the middle where they cross. Sometimes it's not in the middle, sometimes it's on this end. And origin is like the starting point. So if I ask where do you originate, I would say I originate in Watertown, Minnesota, because that's where I started. That's where I was born and I grew up. Okay? All right, next one is the x-axis. So we're going to go to x, which is on page 21. So x-axis, the horizontal axis in a coordinate plane. So horizontal means side to side. So this is the x-axis, side to side. Okay, personal connection would be like running left to right. If you run left to right, that's like the x-axis. Y-axis is right on the back side of this page. Y-axis, make sure you're on the Y's now, Y-axis. The vertical axis in a coordinate plane. So how you go up and down. And that's like your vertical jump for those basketball players of you, how much you jump up and down. Okay. Next we have ordered pair. So going back to those O's. On page 13, ordered pair is a specific, that's not supposed to be there, location on a coordinate plane. A specific location on a coordinate plane. So it always goes x and then y. So like 3, -2, or -6, 12. Those are ordered pairs. Personal connection would be like saying, I'm at McDonald's in Waite Park. When I say that to most people, if they're from St. Cloud, they know exactly which McDonald's I'm at. So the ordered pair tells us exactly where we are at. Okay, next is coordinate plane, C, coordinate plane. C, that's on page 3. So coordinate plane is a grid that is made up of two axes. So you put an apostrophe there because it ends in an S. So that's just the kind of a graph there. And a personal connection, I've been helping some students with their geometry, and they've been talking about longitude and latitude. So if you've taken geography. So if you've been taking geography, you know about latitude and longitude. Next up, we have graph, G. Okay, and that's on page 7. So graph means a coordinate plane that contains points. So for example, if we have a coordinate plane, that's the 4 sides. We could have a graph that looks like a U, maybe some points are on it. Okay, and a personal connection, lots of you have made bar graphs before. If you haven't, that's okay, but you've maybe seen them in your textbooks. Okay, so that's a bar graph. Okay, and then last word is quadrant. So this should be new for everyone. Quadrant, A, B, C, D, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S. So Q. Quadrant. Q is on page 16. Okay, so quadrant is a section of a coordinate plane, and we use quad because there's 4 of them. So for example, we have our coordinate plane here. This is quadrant 1 in the upper right-hand corner. And then it follows C for coordinate plane. So 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like if we would draw C, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and it's kind of like how a lunch tray is separated. So this is supposed to be a lunch tray. It kind of just looks like a keyboard. Okay, but your lunch tray is separated into different parts. Okay, similarly, a graph is separated into 4 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and it's always 1, 2, 3, 4. When you go to Algebra 1.1 or you move on to your college math, this will still always be quadrant 1. This will always be quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. All right, going on to our notes for today. Okay, first thing we're going to do is diagram the following movements of Miss Lucas. Miss Lucas goes 3 steps to the left and then 2 steps up. So here's her starting point, also known as the origin. Okay, and she's going to go 3 steps left. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now she's here, but now she's going to go 2 steps up 2 steps. 1, 2. So this is where Miss Lucas ends up. Okay, next one. Label the coordinate plane with the terms x-axis, y-axis, origin, and label the 4 quadrants. Okay, so our x-axis goes left to right. It's horizontal. It's like how we run. So this is the x-axis. Our y-axis goes up and down. So this is the y-axis. We're going to very, 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 very small right in the middle here, that is the origin. We have lots of things to write on our graph, so we want to make sure that's really small. Okay, and then we're labeling our quadrants. So remember, we make a C while we label it. So we're going to start in this upper right-hand corner, and this is quadrant 1. And then we're going to make a C, so we go here. That's quadrant 2. And then quadrant 3. And then down here is quadrant 4. Okay, we're now going to label the x and y axis. What's important is that we remember to label the lines, so where the actual lines are. So I'm going to count by ones. So this line here is 1, then we have 2, 3, 4, and 5. Notice how I'm writing right underneath the x-axis, and I'm actually on the line. Okay, I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm writing on the line, and I'm right next to the y-axis. Okay, to the left, these are now negatives. So this is 0, so it'll be -1. -1 is hard to see. -2, -3, -4, -5. Same idea when we go down. This is going to be -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. I kind of tried it as a slant so you can see those negatives. Okay, last example, or last part of this. We're going to plot the following points. So we want to label each number as x or with a y, so it always goes x, y. We're going to make a note of the directions each coordinate gives you. Okay, so on point A, we have x, y. Okay, so x is -3. That tells us to go left 3. Because x tells us to go right or left. And since it's negative, we go left. Left is negative. And then 2 is positive, so we're going to go up 2, because y tells us to go up and down. Okay, so I start at the origin, and I'm going to go left 1, 2, 3, up 1, 2. And that is point A. Okay, 2, -5. So that's going to tell us to go right 2, because that's positive. And then -5 tells us to go down 5. So I'm going to start at the origin, and I'm going to go right 1, 2, positive 2, down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When I put a point there, I'm going to label it. So this is B. Next we have C, -4, 1. So that's my x and my y. So x tells us to move left and right. So I'm going to go, sorry, that just shook the table. -4 tells me to go left 4, and +1 tells me to go up 1. So from the origin, the starting point, I'm going to go left 1, 2, 3, 4, and then up 1. And that's point C, so I put a C next to it. 0, 5. So that my x is a 0. X tells me to go left or right. So I'm not going to go left or right. I'm going to stay put. And the 5 just tells me to go up 5 because that's my y. So I start at the origin and I don't move left or right. I'm just going to go up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that is D. Then I have 5, 2. So this is my x and my y. So x is 5, so I'm going to go right 5, then up 2. So from the origin, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then up 1, 2. And that is point E. Right, and lastly, sorry about that, I have f is negative 1, 0. So the negative 1 tells us to go left 1 because that's our x. And our y is 0, meaning we don't go up or down. So we just start at the origin, 0, 0, and I just go left 1, and then I stay there. So that is F. All right, our summary. Each coordinate gives us 2 directions. The x-coordinate tells us to go left, which means it's a negative number, and right, which would be a positive number. And the y-coordinate tells us to go up. That means it would be a positive number. And down. That would be if it's a negative number. Okay, and that is it.